Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
That's your cue.
Hi, I'm the vine.
And I'm the water, and you're listening to A Cup of Tea.
A
Far from
podcast
home.
about exploring life through each other's eyes.
Well, sharing a cup of tea with you. I was about to drink tea, and then we're sharing a cup of tea with
I saw that. I noticed.
you. Mm-hmm. Like getting ready to talk.
What are
You
you
know?
drinking?
Green tea with mint.
Alright. Hey. Sense.
Meh.
Fair enough.
You are
I'm
meh.
drinking chai.
Meh.
I saw that coming from a mile away.
I mean, it was right there. It was right.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, since our tea is very meh today, apparently,
Apparently.
we can move on.
Yes.
To see
And
that
address the fact that you're not here.
I am not there.
I mean, whatever.
Indeed.
You're not here.
Yeah, she does not care at all.
Not
She's
even a
not
little.
gonna miss me.
Nope.
She's been saying that for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Whatever.
Yeah, I
You're
might-
just over there.
just might stay here. Yeah, we're gonna dissolve the Pan and Water Company. There's gonna be the Water Company and the Fine Company.
Sure thing.
Yeah. But no. So yeah, I'm here. I've been here, and by here we mean Querétaro.
In Mexico,
Um,
yes.
Yes, in Mexico for 3 days. I guess this is the third day.
I guess.
Yeah, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Today's a Tuesday. Not that you have any way of knowing, I guess.
I'm not wearing red, so. I mean, I am. You just can't see it.
Yes, exactly. So yes, I've been here for 3 days, and actually, so because school ended,
Mhm.
and then I decided with my dad and I don't know, just life in general, that I was gonna come back here after classes were done for a bit.
Mhm.
So my plan was kind of to come here and just be here for a vacation and then go back to Vancouver. But what I usually do is I have a night layover in Houston and I stay with my aunt and uncle. But this time I was like, nah, fuck that. Let's just go directly. So we went to a Cinco de Mayo thing downtown. And then I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna pull an all-nighter and fly out the next morning, be at the airport at 4 a.m. and it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, that was your plan.
So we went out downtown. We went back to your place where I stayed over. I genuinely thought I would be able to lay down for a bit, not fall asleep, because then that was dangerous.
Very dangerous.
But just chill there for a bit. But no, it was actually so fast, and it was so funny to me when you were like, I was scared that you were gonna be there when I opened the door.
What do you mean?
You told me the next day that you were worried that you were gonna find me in your couch.
Yeah.
Because no, I took a shower, then I was charging my phone and my watch, packing the rest of my stuff because I still had some things that I had outside of the suitcase. And then it was 3 a.m. already. And I was like,
And
well,
you had
I
to
mean, I
go.
guess I could wait 20 minutes or something and then get the Uber because that's going to be 25 minutes to get to the airport. So that should be fine. So yeah. And the funniest thing was that thing that I was trying to not make any noise. But then I guess I succeeded, or you were just very deeply asleep because you didn't hear anything. So I was like, yes.
I know. That was so, because, I mean, to be fair, I was really tired. We went out dancing. I drank a little bit. And mostly I think it was just that I was really, really tired. And I was out like a log. I didn't even got up to pee in the middle of the night. So that's saying a lot. And in the morning, when I woke up to pee, I was like, oh, like part of me was afraid that I was going to open my door and you were going to be on the couch asleep. And I was going to be like, what the fuck? You lost your plane. But then I came out and you weren't there. And I was like, oh, wow. I didn't even hear her go out. That's crazy.
I was
Cray, if you
low-key
will.
scared of forgetting something. Because I was like, okay, I mean, I can come back into the room. I mean, into the apartment if I have to.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't get into the building again if I forget something.
Yeah.
But then, no, I got everything. Anyway, so I got here. Everything was fine. My dad and my grandma picked me up. It was so freaking hot in here. Like, I was expecting it to be hot. But, you know, I was getting used to, my dad was mocking me saying, oh, yeah, your summer, quote unquote summer, is like 20 degrees. What are you even talking about? And I was like, yes, but that is nice. Nice. Here's like 30.
Yeah.
Which I'm like melting. But anyway, so we came over here. I remember what one of our friends said to me. A poor who was like, eat everything. And I was like, oh, sure, I will. I will just go slowly, though, because I don't want to die. And that happened to me over Christmas, that I came back and I ate like a bunch of stuff and I was dying. Yeah. So lesson learned over there. But then yesterday, the thing was, okay, so this time wasn't like December when I was sort of dying to come back. You know? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I can't wait to go back and see my friends and do this and do that. This time was more like, what am I gonna do here? Like, I genuinely had to remember that the main reason for coming was the car thing. And so I was wondering, like, okay, what am I gonna do here? Okay, I'm gonna see my friends, I'm gonna see my family. That's all cool and dandy. We're gonna work.
She's gonna keep working.
Pockets. Yes. But then I was like, what else? You know? Because also, I think there's a lot of stuff that I can't just go back into what I did before, in terms of I can't go back to dancing because, I mean, I could, but things are different.
You could go to a couple of classes, couldn't you? Just for the fun of it?
Yeah, I could drop by, but I don't know. I think all the levels now are more beginner. Because the older girls are in a different school now. So I don't know. I can't go back to my gym because I would have to pay for like a full month again and like enroll in it again. So it's like, am I gonna like do that? I don't know. And then I thought there's another couple places that I could just drop in for a couple classes, which I guess that would be cool. I was thinking of going somewhere else that I thought it was the same thing. Like, I could go, but I'm like, I'm not going to be here a full month. I don't know what the process is anymore to do it. So, I don't know. So yeah, it's like I do feel like a visitor now here. And it's kind of funny.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I find that incredibly interesting.
I know, right?
What is that like?
It's so weird. It's kind of why. So yesterday, we were chatting. We were FaceTiming. And I said, yeah. So, there's a mirror right in front of me. I can see it right now. Where there's a bunch of Post-its with cute quotes, and like stuff that I used to read or find that I liked, or at some moments in life where I needed motivation, like stuff to remind myself to. Like, there's 3 Post-it that just say, just fucking do it. You know? So I was looking at them and I was like, man, I mean, there are some that I do still like, others that I feel like I've very much adopted and now are a part of how I think about stuff, and like that I've sort of internalized and I don't have to think about it anymore, which I think is the goal, you know, when you write something that you kind of want to remind yourself of. So it felt like, is it mission accomplished then? Am I the person that I sort of set out to be when I wrote these Post-its? And so it was very
I like
a moment to like question myself, like where I was when I wrote that, who I am now, where am I going now? And then I thought of, am I going to take them down? And what am I going to write next? And I know that I always keep writing these. And I think I started when my dad gave me the like 7 habits of successful people, or like the teenager version of that. Yeah. And
of successful teenagers.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a bunch of that are like, I don't know. I have a huge one that I can read here. There's like one day at a time, and the just fucking do it. And there's one, it's not a reminder, it's more of a quote that says something like, memories are something that happened but didn't completely unhappen. That kind of thing. I don't know. So it's like that. And so I was thinking about it and kind of getting sad, you know? Thinking of those things, of like, because some are super old. Some like are high school old or something. Others are newer. Some are from when I was like heartbroken and depressed. And others are from, I don't know, highlights of life. So yeah, I was lying in my bed just thinking, this is so weird. Like that thing of, I feel like a visitor in my house. Is it my house anymore? Am I actually just visiting? Which I guess I kind of am, because I'll just be here temporarily.
I mean, you do still kind of have your room. Like, it's different than your brother, you know? Like,
yeah, that is one thing that does set it apart, that I do have my room. Some stuff is not quite the same way that I left it, though, because my grandma came inside here like a tornado and just like moved a bunch of stuff around. My desk looks so different. My books have been rearranged. My shoes, like, I was so angry when I first got here in December, especially. And now I got more used to it, because I couldn't find my shoes. I was like, where the fuck are they?
You mentioned, yes.
Yeah. What did you do? So it is kind of funny. And so then in my sort of depression and weirdness, and it was more and more, not just being sad, I was feeling weird about it. Then I woke up, I got off the bed and I opened Instagram, and that is the thing that I told you, that I saw this quote that apparently Warren Buffett said in a conference the other day, of write your obituary and then try to live up to it.
And you did say that to me.
Okay, that's what I needed to hear.
And
really? That's what, yeah, you know, because there's these things, though. Before leaving to Canada, I wrote down, I don't think I have it here, but so we have, we do have this notebook that you have yours and I have mine, where we write a bunch of stuff, of worky stuff. Right?
Yes.
But then I also have, yes, we hoard them basically. And then I also have like my journal, personal notebook, where I write stuff like journaling and just ideas and stuff. And there's a section of it that has all the stuff that I want for us to have, like goals for a company and stuff. And I wrote them down when I was first going over there. And I thought, okay, this is what I want to do. And we're going to be super focused and we're going to do it and everything's going to be great. And I think it's something that, I don't know, I think of ourselves as very ambitious, and like we know what we want to do, and we're feeling very creative and we're doing it. And you know, when I don't know if I mentioned it before. I feel like I did, or maybe I just did it to you off camera. But this thing that I was watching an interview with Maddie Healy, and it for the Zane Lowe show podcast. I don't know. And Maddie said this thing about him feeling like he's a visionary, but without the compliment that the word entails. More of it, that in a sense of, I see what I want. I see what I'm doing. Like, there's an end goal and I can totally see it right in front of me, you know? And kind of, I was like, oh,
I get that.
Yes, exactly. So then the phrase, the like obituary thing, I was like, man, yes, I think it's a great thing to do because I'm guessing, I mean, I don't know, I've had conversations with people where they don't know what they want to do with their lives.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I don't know, I'm just going to get a job and then maybe get married and, get a house and have kids and that kind of thing. And it's very much like they follow the social script because they haven't had the sort of flash of inspiration of doing something that actually interests them. Or if they have it, maybe they've lost it,
or maybe they've come to realize that is what they want.
Yeah, that is also a thing. But what I mean is, like, for people that don't know, I mean, because it's okay, like, it's totally fair if that is what you want.
Right. We know a couple of people like that.
Yeah. But when it isn't, when it's more like the default that you fall into,
yes.
That's where I was like, no, let's create an obituary that we actually want to do. And I just think it's such a cool exercise, to write it down and think about how you're going to be in the future and try to actually do all these things that you say that you want to do, because I don't know, it's just freaking awesome. I love the idea of it.
Yeah. Me too. I'm very, very intrigued by the idea and I'm going to write it down. And like the thing is that yesterday, I think, is when I was telling you that I was kind of down. Yeah. Out of this like internal drama of it's, I feel like, I guess it's part of the creative process, but not in the way, like, because I feel like there's a difference between the creative process of having, of like, how do I explain this? So I feel like there's a difference between coming up with an idea for a video and the creative process. I think, okay, here it is. I think I found it. I think it's a short-term creative process versus a long-term creative process. And I feel like partly the short-term creative process is very just, you come up with an idea and you have to find a way to externalize that idea and like a conversation with yourself to have the courage to put that idea outside. But in a kind of, so to speak, immediate way. But then the long-term one, it's not just having the courage at one point in time, but a continuous courage to keep jumping into the abyss, basically. Which is kind of how I was feeling yesterday, of because we have all the goals that we have for our company as a company, and it's not just like, oh, what's the next video going to be? Like, no.
Yeah.
As you said, we're visionaries. We see the things that we want to do and who we want to be. And we're trying to do that constantly. So I think I was just, in a sense, emotionally exhausted of the constant leap of faith, of the constant, like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I guess we're just going to keep doing it. And like, not doubt. I don't want to say that I doubt ourselves, but yeah, I don't know. Just that. Do you see the leap of faith thing that I'm saying, of like, oh yeah, just the constant leap of faith of, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's on the other side of this. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're just going for it.
Yeah.
Just that, and the obituary thing that you told me was like, I like this. This feels good. This feels right. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel it in the moment of doubt. In the moments where I'm like, oh, are we really? Are we fucking it up? Are we, or maybe not even fucking it up? Because I don't think we're making a mistake. But what I do think is that there are, and I was having lunch yesterday with my aunt, and I mentioned this to her, of sort of temptations along the way to go towards the easy path, kind of. Because I'm done with school now, right?
Yes.
Which means that I now can have a job. I can apply for a job full time. I have a work permit. But do I want to get a job? Because that's going to take 40 hours of my week, which means that I would need to work 70 hours a week.
I mean, you could do part-time like me.
I mean, I could part-time, yeah. But then I feel like there are so many other projects that we want to do that this is like the perfect time to actually not go into another job and start going into our stuff more, you know? Kind of like why sort of devote my time to other people when I can devote it to myself, to like what we want to do, our projects.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. So I feel like that is in a way the easy road of going somewhere that is safe. And then this still feels dangerous.
I feel like in a sense it's a comfortable road.
Exactly.
You know, more than easy, because still it's I don't know that it's particularly easy to have a job that you're not passionate about. And not to say that you would have a bad job, you know, because like my side job at the retail store is nice. You know, it's like that thing that I said of like, I just want a good place that I'm happy to come to, be of service. And that's it. Like, I don't need a career out of this job, right? That's the thing that I said. And I have that. But still, it's that difference of the days that I don't have to go to work there and I'm working here. There it's still a hustle, even though it's like, oh, it's your passion, and if you love the thing that you do, it's not work. Like, I know where you're coming from, hypothetical person, whoever said this. But there's still you're still putting in the hours and the effort, and even though you're enjoying it, like, you know, at least me, this is my experience. Sometimes when I'm in the third or fourth hour of editing a thing, it's like I'm almost done. Just gotta keep doing.
Yeah.
And that's very different from being at the retail store in my 6th or 7th hour of the day and being like, please be over. However nice the people are, however happy the customers are, still, like, just be over. I want to go home. So I wouldn't quite say that it's easy, because either way you're putting in time and effort. But I do think that it's comfortable in a comfort zone kind of way. You know, even if you don't like the job, then like someone can be like, what do you mean it's comfort? Like, it's horrible. I don't like this job. Well, yeah, but you're there because you kind of need to be there, and it's in a way this comfort zone, because it's a steady job, it's a steady income, it's you know that you're gonna get a paycheck.
Pays the bills.
Exactly, which is partly why I have to do it. And that's the thing of like, if you personally, you yourself, the water, don't have that need, because you have family support. I'm over here just take advantage of that.
Yeah, I know.
And I hope it doesn't sound to other people like, oh, she's taking advantage of her family. She's all grown up and she's not working. But I'm like, I hope your dad agrees. I think my mom would agree to some extent if that was her position as well. Of like, just looking at the world that we have right now and the circumstances of the world that we have right now, and what the work life is for millennials. I feel like there would be, you know, like, yes, take advantage of the fact that we as parents can give you this so that you can do something with it, so that you can build the thing that you want to and be happy and work in something that you're passionate about.
That was actually a bit of a conversation that I had today, not with my dad, but with Gina, his friend slash, I don't know, co-manager worker. Not, I guess she's technically the CEO of the school.
All right.
I don't know. Anyway, so
how did that conversation go?
she was saying that my dad worries that he's like coddling me too much.
Really?
In a way, like he worries that I won't. He doesn't want me to depend on him
Yeah.
forever, which I get, and I told her like, no, that stresses me out too. Like I don't want to be. I mean, like the sort of nepo baby situation is very comfortable in a way, but it comes at a cost of like mental health.
Yeah.
Being like the stress, like I'm not making money off the company yet, or like
Yeah.
I
You're
can't. I
depending
would
on
need
them.
to have a job, or so that is interesting. Like it's not all wonderful. It is quite good because yes, it lets me not have to worry about getting a job to pay the bills right now. But then I don't want to also be in that situation forever,
Yeah,
so which is why, like, no, we have to make this work. And I feel like it's a constant conversation that we've had, in this path of getting to work and doing stuff with the company, and not just our creative projects, but having like our production services as a company for other people that want to do like videos, podcasts, and stuff, which is what we're trying to get to take off.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an interesting conversation. Like, I
then
know
do you think that he wouldn't agree with what I said about the taking advantage?
Yeah, no, I think he does. He does, because he has told me, like, see, this is a perfect time so that you can go. And he even told me this in a sort of different way, because my brother, for example, does have a job. He's working in LA and all of that. And I think at some point they had a conversation about it, of like why I am still being supported by my family and my brother isn't. And my dad was like, well, yeah, but you have a job, you have a house, like, well, you don't own your house, but like you're stable and you are working for somebody else, like you're an employee at a company. Versus
you're making your own company.
Yeah, versus your sister, who is kind of insane, and she's making her own company, which is really hard. So ask anybody that is an entrepreneur doing their own thing. It's freaking insane. And if you can have the luxury of somebody supporting you through that process, well, that makes it a lot easier. I think it would be different if I was just sort of squandering time and money and just living off my family, like leeching off their money and just being
that's definitely
brat.
a different conversation, for
right?
sure.
But yeah, that I think that's like, from what he's told me, there's like sort of an ambivalence to the situation from his side, but not in a like terrible way. Oh, like, oh, this is horrible. No. Yeah.
It's making me think of something that my mom always says whenever the situation calls for it, of like, I'd rather give you guys, and she means like me and my brothers, money now and support you now, rather than you having money when I die. She's very into that mentality. And I very recently heard or read about it somewhere. I think it was in a podcast. I think it was in the Daily Stoic. And he was interviewing, I can tell you, because it was very recent. Kelly something?
My dog is eating my shoe. Stop that.
That's funny.
Here's full on biting into my Birkenstock.
Oh, so yeah. On the Daily Stoic, he was interviewing Kevin Kelly. He's an author, and I'm going to read one of his books or listen to it, more like it. But yeah, I think I believe, again, I'm a goldfish, so don't blame me for it. He was saying something like that, of like, use your money while you're alive. You know, he said something like along the lines of, your goal should be to die broke, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it makes me think of my mom and how she's like, you know, in her very spiritual way of having God very present in her life. She says to us that, you know, God will provide, and as he provides, I will provide for you, and that's why I'm here. And if I can help you guys, I will help you. And I'd rather give you money now and support you now and help you out now that I'm here than just leave you some inheritance. Exactly. So on the one hand, it reminded me of that. And on the other hand, it reminded me of my dad. Because, and it kind of tied it up with a eulogy thing. Because one of the things that I would say and think about my dad, and not just me, but people, the very few people that I knew that knew him, we all kind of knew this of my dad to be true, that he lived, you know, he enjoyed his life. And that's something that we could all say with certainty. And he actually kind of did die broke. My mom, on the other hand, would be like, would tell me before he died a little bit that he squandered his money. But on the other hand, you know, like, I guess he did have probably some stress about money, especially towards the end of his days. But, you know, tying it up with the eulogy thing and the podcast thing, and, you know, your goal should be to die broke. And I don't think Kevin Kelly means it in a very, what's the word? There's a Caloncho song about this. Hedonista. Yeah. In a very hedonistic way. I don't think he means it in a, oh yeah, it's all about pleasure, who cares? But I do think he means it in like don't hold on to it too much. You know, you should use it. You should leave it. You should do the things.
Yeah.
And I really like I really like that episode of The Daily Stoic. He's very much into don't squander not money but your life. And I'm getting very into this mindset with the whole, you and I have talked about it a little bit of how you can always make money but you can't make back time. So to change the mindset from like money to value time over money.
Yeah. And that's actually something that one of my uncles said to me the other day, that he wished he had learned earlier in life. And so he was like, I'm glad you know it. And I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was one of those things that at the end that I was having lunch with yesterday said to me also some time ago of like, don't worry, don't have that I don't have money mentality. Because I mean, of course, and I'm there's a part of me that is very aware that we're talking from a very privileged position where not a lot of people can afford to see the same thing.
Of course.
And I try to be very aware of that. So in that same, I guess, awareness, I do try to be sort of like grateful and keep in mind that I don't have to worry so much about it. And also think like it's okay because money does come and go. And there's times when, like we've said over the past few weeks, we've been like, oh, okay, let's not spend that much money because we need to save and we need to not splurge and not follow the very luxurious lives that we're having lately.
Which our luxurious lives and our splurging is basically just getting coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Going out for food and stuff. Like, that's our luxurious life that we need to cut back from.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
but it is a luxury. So
yeah. But yeah, she said that thing to me of like, don't think in terms of what's the word for that? Like austerity? Not that she said austerity, but like don't think in terms of something that you're lacking. Yeah, exactly. Think about it as like it comes and goes. And I think that combined with this thing that my grandpa used to say, for example, of if you are out shopping or if you're out on the street or whatever and you see something that you like and you can buy it for yourself, just like get it. I mean, don't just, waste money.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you genuinely like and you can afford it, well, you can get it. Like if it's going to make you happy, like to buy a new jacket or like something for your house, and in a very Marie Kondo way, I guess, is going to bring you joy. And it's not a financial burden on you.
Well, see, that's the thing. I feel like that's the little asterisk on the thing of like, if you can't afford it, buy it. But if you can't afford it and you're not spending rent money or food money,
exactly,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. If it's like you have all your necessities covered and this is an affordable luxury, or not necessarily a luxury, just like something that you can afford to buy for yourself. Yeah. Like, go for it. If you think that because you buy this, then you're not going to have food the next week, then of course don't buy it. Like, that is stupid. But yeah, like, he said it like, si te gusta, what? Si te gusta, te queda y lo puedes comprar, cómpralo. Something like that,
That sounds cute.
Yeah. So those are, I don't know, like things that I guess have never been on that post-it wall in front of me, but
you've internalized.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm internalizing all of that. I feel like there's stuff brewing up inside. Kind of like brainwashing and chip switching and adjusting things and moving stuff around. And it's interesting to be aware of how we/me are trying to change the way we see the world and change our perception to accommodate the life that we're trying to build and create.
Yeah. I can see that. Interesting way of phrasing it. Interesting way of phrasing it.
What part?
The like reframing. What was it? Is it perspective? I think to accommodate the life that we want.
Yeah, that we're building.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but I hadn't thought of it like that. Sounds very theoretical.
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense because writing posters on the wall, it's basically that. Right? But it's just like, wow, very deep way of like very formal way of saying it.
Yeah.
So
my mind works in very theoretical ways. It's all about the theory.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. So see, it's been very interesting. This like journey of evaluating the stage of life where I am right now.
Are we? Because remember that thing that I tend to say of how we are millennials in our own very new designated stage of life of
like the, I know what you mean.
adultez emergente.
Yeah, that one.
I don't know what they
like
call it in English because I've never. Yeah.
Young adulthood.
I wonder
if there's a name for it in English. I'm pretty sure
there must be.
Yeah. Let's
Emerging adulthood. Emerging adulthood is proposed as a new conception of development for the period from the late teens through the 20s. Yeah, all right. I guess so. So, my point, I tend to bring this up quite often. Mostly because it's what we're doing. We're in that stage. And it's a little bit of a... The other day, I thought it was hilarious. It was my boss's, like...
birthday?
It was my boss's birthday, but not like my manager or like my manager's manager, like the boss at the branch or whatever. It was her birthday, and she came over because my department gave her a birthday card and whatever. And she came down and she was like, "Oh, thank you so much. It's so nice, whatever." And then she was leaving and she said something about her having a midlife crisis.
How old is she?
I mean, she looks young. 40s?
Is it the one I'm thinking of?
I have no idea who you're thinking. If you're thinking about my mean boss, it's not her.
Oh.
It's not her.
I didn't want to say
her
mean boss, but
she's...
Oh, I see.
Or I will say this. I don't know if she's purposefully mean, but she comes off as mean. For sure. And I'm not the only one to say that. So, maybe it's just her delivery. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not her. It's her boss.
Okay.
But anyway, she said the midlife crisis thing. And in a very psychologist, anthropologist, curiosity way, I was like, what do you mean midlife crisis? I didn't actually ask her because I don't have that rapport with her. But I was very intrigued by what she meant with her midlife crisis. And I feel like, of course, we haven't been through a midlife crisis. I wonder what our generation's midlife crisis is going to be. Or hear me out. What if we moved that midlife crisis and that's what we're having now? Because I imagine... Okay. Because I imagine that their midlife crisis, again, I imagine because I have no idea. Their midlife crisis has to do with the fact that for previous generations, it was a more following the path. You know, and they kind of knew what to do. And I don't know that my boss fits into that generation because I feel like she would be like an elder millennial. I don't know. I don't know that she's that old.
Okay.
But my point is, I feel like older generations, like people in their 50s and their 60s, when they had a midlife crisis at 40, I imagine because they got to that age, they looked back and they were like, I did all the things, you know? I went to school, if they were lucky enough to be, or privileged enough to go to school. I married the person, I had the children, I had the job. I did all the things that I was supposed to do, and somehow I'm not feeling anything. Or maybe I am feeling some things, but not all the things that I wanted to feel, or whatever they go through. So I'm wondering if in our own emerging adulthood, then instead of looking back, our midlife crisis, or like not our life crisis, is to look ahead and figure out how to do the thing. Because we've questioned all of this, all that's in the checklist, right? We're kind of like, oh, I'm supposed to do this and this and this and that. And we're kind of like, I don't know that that's what I want to do, or that that's the order that I want to do it in, or maybe I want to add some stuff or take out some stuff. So I don't know. I wonder, you were going to say something, do you think we're still going to have a midlife crisis at 40? Did we move the midlife crisis and took it to our 20s?
Yes, I was going to say, I do feel like that thing happened not just to me, but to at least 3 or 4 of my friends when we left college. And it's kind of like what we were saying in the Pockets episode about
the adulting episode,
like adulting. Yeah. Because there's sort of this this path that you were told to follow, and then there's going to be a promised land of adulthood at the end of it, and you do the path, you walk the school years and all that, and you get to the promised land, and you're like, what the fuck? This is not what I
what
was
shitty promised land is this?
Yeah. This is false advertising. So then you have to, and not everyone, because I do think that not all of my friends went through this questioning phase of what the fuck do I do with my life now? But for the people that did, that felt like a big, not middle life, but, end of college life crisis of, and I think it's something that one of us said in the pocket of the way was paved until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I think it's comparable. The because it's like the same sort of setup, like you were told to do all these things and now you've done them. So what comes next?
What comes next?
Yeah.
Soon you'll see. You'll remember you belong to me.
Which, parenthesis, I was watching Mindhunter yesterday and I was like, oh, the king.
Christoph.
Yeah. It was so weird to think of him as Christoph, though,
I know.
while he was catching murderers. But yeah, anyway. So, I mean, in a way, I do wonder what our, like, maybe in 20 years we'll find out what the midlife crisis is.
Yeah.
Or maybe not in 20, maybe it, like, moves on to when we are 50 or something like that. Or 60, since we're going to live longer now. But I am seeing... Well,
do you want to finish your thought?
The thing is, I was just, like, about to bounce it off to this other thing of, I'm seeing this pattern of people that are like our parents' age, who are women recently divorced, who are now finding their paths in life. And that seems so interesting and cool. So I'm like...
Okay, hold, pin that to go back to. Okay. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Pin it. Is it pinned?
It is pinned.
Okay.
Pinned. There.
Very well. Thank you. Because from what it's been a few years since I came out of high school. Not high school. I mean, even more so. But since I came out of college.
A few years since.
Yeah. No, but from college. And from what I remember, again, the stages of life from Erik Erikson, and there's these different stages, like 8 or whatever, that you go through in life. Which, again, I feel like that really depends on the population that Erik Erikson was looking at, right? But anyway. And I feel like towards the midlife crisis it has a lot to do with this, okay, like I did the things, I did the checklist, and now I kind of don't know what to do with myself. And I feel like we are, to some extent, taking that now of like, oh, I did the school, I did the things. But now that I'm in the promised land, it's like, like, no. So that questioning of what am I supposed to do now is what we're having.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a looking. I mean, it is. It actually is. Instead of looking back after the job and the wife and I mean the husband as the partner, the spouse and the children, we're looking back at school, and towards the rest of our lives and being like, what do I do now? And I guess partly maybe because of the, I don't know, our millennial experience of like how difficult it is to get a job, how difficult it's to sustain yourself, to the point where you're questioning if that's what you should do or how to do it. And in a very stereotypical way, the generation before kind of just did those things, just the way that we did elementary and middle school and high school and university. They just kept going. The next thing was the marriage and, well, the job and the marriage and the kids. So they just kept going through their list. But because we've had a harder time facing the next things on the list, the whole questioning and the existentialism of our lives and what do I want to do now and who I am. I do think that we are having that midlife crisis as an early life crisis. I think we just took it early,
switched it up.
I feel that would be my hypothesis right now.
Theory.
Yeah, exactly. Now I wonder if that means that we'll be better prepared for the next stuff in life. If we'll be more aware, taking the next steps in our own custom-made checklist of this is who I am and this is why I'm doing these things.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something that I've been wondering a lot about lately.
Really?
In this sort of, because I was thinking, okay, so in this sort of way of being that I think the two of us are, some of our friends are too, that we're very self-aware and very much like we're trying to become like better versions of ourselves. Like I see that in a lot of my friends and a lot of people in our generation. But I do think that because I have an affinity towards that, then I am biased, and so my friends tend to be like that kind of people. So I was thinking about it, and I thought, okay, there's this thought, this idea that we're never gonna be fully perfect, fully our best selves. Like we're constantly a work in progress. But then I thought, okay, I'm stopping. I'm looking at myself right now, and I feel like I've already done so many things that I'm like, what comes next? You know, like what is the next thing that I can improve? And I do see a lot of the stuff that I'm like I can still work on. But there was a moment where I stopped and I was like this, I can check this and this and this and this and this off my list. Like the post-its,
like you've made some progress.
Yeah. I've made some progress. So I'm good. So I can be comfortable now. That is a little bit of a trap that I feel like I fell into recently.
I see that.
And then I was like, no, there's still things that I can work on. There's still I'm trying to sort of cheat myself into thinking that I've got it that I've got it all mastered and figured out.
So you stop working on stuff and you stop being uncomfortable.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting thing. The finding out that I've already done a lot, but then I have to remind myself that there's still stuff to do. And not in because I thought about it in this way, not to be negative about it, because at some point my mind was like, no, it's okay. You got it. You've made it. You can pat yourself in the back. And if you look for flaws, you're going to find them. So stop looking. And I was like,
Should you stop looking?
Exactly. Should I stop looking? I don't think you're right, self, in saying that if I'm gonna find
Self.
like if I'm gonna yeah if I'm gonna like if like if I want to if I'm gonna keep looking, I'm gonna find it. Of course, that makes sense. Like I know what you're saying, but it doesn't like make any sense. There's always gonna be something that you can improve. There's always gonna be something that you can change for the better. Like whatever.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a little bit of that yoga thing of some days your body is more willing to do stuff, some days it isn't, and you just kind of either exercise the upside of things and the keep going and do it harder and push yourself. And some other days you exercise patience and relaxation and taking it easy, So I do really like that. Of like some days is this, some days is that, and you kind of like work with both sides.
Yeah. Take it as it comes.
All right. Are we ready for the pin?
Sure, we are ready for the pin.
Okay, go. Let's go back to the pin. Unpin it now.
Okay, sure. Unpin. Because so we've had this conversation about, because we're recording the second season of Pockets.
Yes.
There has been this person that you wanted to talk to.
Yes. I still need to talk to
and
them.
We need to. And so this is the second. Let's say the second. I feel like there's more, but like right now, top of my mind, there's two women that are in a stage in their lives where they are 50 something. I want to say. They're like recently getting divorced, in the middle of the divorce or something. And so they are in this path of finding themselves now in this new stage of their lives. And on the one hand, from the woman that I know that I'm talking about, I think it's so cool. And she's doing such cool stuff. And because it's my aunt, so yesterday we were having this conversation about, it was kind of funny because I felt like she was asking me a bunch of stuff, like not interrogating me, but kind of like covering all her bases to make sure that I was okay. Kind of.
That's sweet.
Like sort of checking in a very thorough way. And there was a moment where she asked me something about learning to be alone, or like be with myself. I think is how she asked it. And she said, because I'm just learning to do that now. And I was like, oh wow. Oh wow. Yeah, you're telling me that at 50 something, you're just learning to be with yourself now. And she said that she was having a blast. Like, she was like, oh my God, no, this is amazing. I'm loving it. It's so much fun. It's great. But then I was like, holy cow. Like, imagine the opposite. Like, being, like, living 50 years of your life. I don't know how it was exactly for her, but like, let's say uncomfortable at the thought of being alone by yourself.
Now I'm very curious, and I really want her in a pocket.
Sure, we can have her in a pocket.
Make it happen.
We can cross promote
with
please. Her podcast, because she has a podcast too. That's a cool thing that she's doing. Because she's had like a cool career where she's done a bunch of stuff. She's very multi-dimensional in that way. Like she's done many, many things. And so now she's doing a podcast that is doing well. She's being great at it. Learning a bunch of stuff, talking to people, interviewing a bunch of people. So I mean I like that sort of finding themselves kind of thing. And I'm curious if it has to do with this thing that we're talking about, of where in life you get your quote unquote midlife crisis.
Your life crisis. Yeah. Well, the thing is that I actually started noticing this phenomenon when I was working in the real estate stuff. when I was still in college,
Mhm.
because several of my coworkers were women in their 40s and 50s who had like a very Señora de las Lomas life. That's how the beach says it. But just a trophy wifey kind of life.
Yeah.
Of, you know, they had the husband, and the husband was doing the job and bringing in the money, so they had to sure take care of the kids and take them here and take them there and like raise the kids, but the worries of their life, I guess, and this is from a very assumption-y place, was to hang out with their girlfriends and go to brunches and do things in a very trophy wifey way.
Yeah.
But for some reason or another, you know, mostly divorce, then they were now by themselves and having to figure out how to do life by themselves at 40 and 50. And I don't know that all of them had a career, had a college degree. Even if they did, again, we were in the real estate market because, I mean, not market, but in the real estate
sector.
Because even if they did have a career,
business,
they were going to start a career at 40 or 50, like, and in Mexico, so even less of a real possibility. That's why they were selling houses, because or land, because that's what actually can give you some money. That's why I was doing it, even though I just graduated college, you know, and I was a psychologist and stuff. But I couldn't have afford my house if I wasn't doing real estate. And they could certainly not take care of their children, however young or grown the children were, but like support their family if they weren't doing that. And I found it so interesting. I would talk to a couple of them that were very close to me, and they would tell me a little bit of it. And I thought it was very awe-inducing in a sense, but scary.
Yeah.
Like, I was amazed at them, at the fact that how could they have lived their lives and now be put in this position, in this situation. Like, there's a part of my brain where it doesn't compute, and I think it's also due to privilege. And maybe, you know, the fact that up until now, the whole like, oh yeah, I will marry and have children and be a wife wasn't really my cup of tea. But also, again, you know, they're from a different generation. My mom's from a different generation of like, that's what you did. You went to school if you could. You married a guy. You had kids. The guy went to work. Even one of my aunts has like, I don't know, 3 degrees in like microbiology or like biochemistry or some shit like that. And her husband was like, you can't work. No working for you. And she didn't.
She so didn't. Fucked up.
It is like very
the
fucked up.
Work thing. Don't even get me started.
I know. And like, I don't know if fortunately or unfortunately, they're still together. So my aunt hasn't been put in that position of like, well, no husband now. See what you're going to do with your life. And my cousins are grown up also, but still, you know, like these other women that I was working with, they were put in that position. And I don't know, damn, like I really want to talk to your aunt and to this other person that I want to talk to about this. Because it's not only in a female perspective kind of way. where I'm very intrigued as to their experience from that older generation that we were kind of revolutionizing against.
Yeah.
But also just as a human, just as a person, trying to have these conversations and these awareness with yourself at 40, at 50, at 60. What is that like? Because also, one of my coworkers now, she just turned 60. And I was like, what is turning 60 like? And she took it very well. She's really nice. She's English. And she was like, oh, it's a blast. She's just like, I adore getting old and having all this experience and learning stuff. And I was like, that's the right attitude right there.
Yeah.
But like maybe not everyone can have that attitude, or I don't know. It's difficult to talk about generalizing. But I'm intrigued, basically.
Yeah. Well, we can definitely arrange for a pocket, I guess.
You said definitely, so you make it happen.
Sure. We'll see how her crazy schedule is.
All right.
Yeah. Very well.
Any further thoughts?
No, not really. I feel like that was a very nice cup of tea.
Interesting places we got to.
Yeah.
Out of you going to Mexico.
I know. Very existential.
Yeah, a little. Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Because again, it's that thing that I was saying of like, we're actually in that stage.
Yeah.
The emerging adulthood. Where it's like, I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your rec for today? I'm intrigued because you didn't tell me what it was.
Yes. Okay. I now you need to watch it because I feel like it can be on another cup of tea. But today, while I was watching like a bunch of Jokoi comedy shows, which is not my rec, but if you don't know Jokoi, you should go watch him because he is really funny and I really like him.
Okay.
I saw that John Leguizamo
I don't know.
has a new
it like as Leguizamo, but whatever.
Leguizamo. There's no I.
I don't know. Maybe I made it up. That's what I mean. Like
maybe
I
you did. Maybe Leguizamo. Leguizamo. I have no idea.
Anyway,
he has a stand-up show called Latin History for Morons. And it's amazing. It is truly, truly amazing. You need to watch it.
Okay.
And we need to have a conversation about it.
All right.
Because that I've been having for like a while, a lot of, again, existentialism about my identity in a not race, but what's the other thing? Ethnicity.
Ethnic?
Yeah, in an ethnic way of like being Latino and being white and being, mixed, I guess. I'm very lost about it. I need to do a lot of thinking about it. But yeah.
Theorizing.
Yeah. Watch it. We need to watch it. We need to talk about it. It is amazing.
Okay, sure. I will.
To some extent, I will give you this little hint. To some extent, I don't know that I can compare it 100%, but in a sense, and I hope you see this, there's a little bit of some Hamilton vibes in there.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how you're imagining it, but you need to watch it and then be like, oh, I see what you meant about Hamilton.
I see.
Or not.
Now I'm imagining something else.
What did you imagine first?
I first thought it was a stand-up show from what you were saying?
It is a stand-up
before?
comedy show.
Oh.
It is a stand-up comedy
show. Is it like
show.
a drunk history kind of thing? No,
I don't know what the drunk history is.
It's this. Maybe that can be my rec because I'm blank. I'm blank right now. So drunk history are these videos where actors and comedians tell some part of history, but they are drinking. So I think they have to read it or something like that. And it's hilarious because they are telling you like stuff that really happened, but in a funny way because they're drunk. So it's like saying, oh yeah, so Hamilton, like, he did some money thing, right? I mean, I don't know. He was like the secretary, and then someone's like, yeah, he was the secretary of Treasury, dude. Don't you remember? And like, I don't know, it's kind of funny. Like, it's cool.
I feel like I've seen something along the lines of that. Yeah. There was this other show, but right now I don't remember what it was. So maybe I can wreck it later. But what's his face? Big Mouth Kid.
John Mulaney?
The other one.
Nick?
Yeah, Nick Kroll was in it.
Kroll.
Yeah. It's like the second part of a movie thing, but they turned it into a series. Oh my God, have you not seen this? It is also hilarious, and you also need to watch it.
No, I haven't. I think I actually saw something with him and John Mulaney on Netflix. That because so the other day, when I was watching something with my dad, then he was waiting for his clothes to dry. And so I was playing I don't know if it was Razzle Dazzle or the Hey Big Boy. But one of those. And he wasn't paying any attention to it. It's like, okay, I'll just do something else. And it appeared like on the suggestions, this other thing with John Mulaney and Nick Kroll. Did you find it?
I didn't find it in Netflix, so I'm wondering where it is. I think it's in Prime.
Interesting. Well, I have an anti-rec now. Just that
What's your
I just thought about it.
How is that a thing?
So I don't know. Maybe it's just I don't know if it's a hot take or just a rant. Because so one day I was at the supermarket and I got some grapes without reading the label. Then I got back and everything. What?
Did you get the candy cane? Not the candy cane. The cotton candy grapes.
I fucking got the cotton candy grapes. And so I saw it. Ew. I read the thing. I regretted them. I was like, this is fucking disgusting. And now my grandma just came by and she gave me this with grapes that she froze because frozen are tolerable. But she got cotton candy grapes without noticing that she got them. And yesterday,
I found it.
She came by and she was like, "Oh, you guys should eat some of the grapes because they're very ripe." And I was like, "Ugh." And then I went to the fridge and I saw them and I was like, "You fucking have cotton candy grapes. That is
gross.
Disgusting. It is gross." So now I have cotton candy grapes here.
That is very gross. And I understand the anti-rec thing.
Yeah.
I do.
Don't get they're horrible.
No, they are. Ew. I know the thing. So the thing that I was watching with Nick Kroll is the history of the world. What's the name in English though? It's in Spanish. La loca historia del mundo parte 2. What's the name in English though?
The crazy history of the world part 2.
Is it? I
don't know. I don't have my phone with me, so I can't look it up.
Crazy
history of the world. The crazy history. No, I hate that. I'm not going to do that. No, ASMR.
It is.
The crazy history of the world?
No, it's just history of the world part 2. Is part 1 called the crazy history of the world?
I don't know.
No, it's just history of the world.
Nicolas Cage did this show on Netflix that I started watching, but I didn't finish, called The History of Curse Words or something like that.
That sounds funny.
It's kind of funny. Yeah.
I might watch that. So no, it's just crazy history of the world, and apparently that was Mel Brooks movie back when. And they did a crazy History of the World Part 2, and it's a series, and it's really funny, and it gives me, I think, that sort of like drunk history vibe thingy, because they're telling history, but in a funny way. But I won't compare it to Latin history for morons, just because I just really want you to see it for yourself and come back to me and tell me about it.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
I can do that. Very well.
Good.
That can be our next episode then.
Amazing.
Okay.
Since we wrecked and anti-wrecked like a bunch of things, I think we're done.
Yes. Yes. It's safe to say.
Very well.
Okay. Well, we hope you join us for another cup of tea next week.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for sharing a cup of tea with us.
To watch more episodes of A Cup of Tea, click the link on the right. If you want to watch Pockets in the Universe, go to the playlist on the left.